Wallnau Show. Today is going to be a life-changing show for many of you. I'm telling you right now, I've just been behind the scenes here, catching up with Mercedes and Pastor Shirley, who is our special guest today. And my jaw's dropping with the way in which God is moving right now in real transformational testimonies of people's lives, bodies, physical things happening, just showing that the Lord is able to save and he's able to intervene. And so whoever's watching this right now, especially in my demographic, is I just became a grandpa this weekend. So I realize that for those of you that are already grandparents, that at this stage in life, when you're a mom or a dad raising your kids, or whether you're getting older and you're sending your kids out and they're having children, this is the time when you're in the optimum zone of being able to answer the call of God. All of my research for years on convergence theory is that people enter into the finest spot in the call of God north of 50 years of age, and you can go on. It gets better and better after that, and it's always with this caveat, depending on your health. So that I really believe right now we're focusing on the health aspect because God wants you to be stronger. He wants you to be able to last longer. And this is the Super Bowl for us. This is a time in history in North America where everything I feel is at stake, and God needs you to run like you've never run before. Pastor Shirley, you're with us because you were doing a very special session for us at the Trump Doral. We had a whole medical focus, a whole panel of different doctors and experts. And people were blown away with your testimony because you weren't talking to us as the doctor, but as the practitioner, the person who needed an intervention, and God gave it to you. So for those of you that have been with us before, I don't want to have to repeat the same ground. You can watch our previous broadcast. By the way, you can go to level10matrix.com to really explore the science behind the supernatural, if you want to put it that way. I believe science and the supernatural works together. I didn't always appreciate that. I always thought it was either faith or it was science. And then after I kind of matured more in the Seven Mountain thing, it's like the Lord said to me, why are you robbing me of my glory? I'm the God that gives insight and intervention and ingenious inventions to my people. And I really believe right now, level10matrix.com is on the front page of that phenomena that we're talking about. Tell us, Pastor Shirley, just in the last month, what have you seen? Every time I see you, you're like, hey, and this happened, and then what's been going on lately?
Oh my, to see what I am seeing and to receive the phone calls, it has been absolutely extraordinary. The amount of telephone calls that we have been receiving on people that have received their eyesight back after they have been given a medical diagnosis and told, hey, I'm legally blind. And now to see that these people are able to be fitted for glasses again. Some of them are saying, hey, one lady said, I'm getting my driver's license back. These things are absolutely extraordinary. So I'm seeing the medical and the supernatural converging. And this is so important to me because I'm one of those. I'm a product of the product. I am a partner of this purpose of what I believe that God directed me to get whenever I was given no hope of survival by medical science.
And I can interrupt you for 1 second because we were talking before the show about our journey from being full tilt supernatural into God bringing us into this, wait a second, I'm bigger than that. And then you actually had the Lord speak to you those words. Or tell people what that was.
Yes. So I was actually at a time in my life where I was really struggling because I didn't want there to be any type of a mixture in my life because God had used us mightily just in that realm of the supernatural. And
so you've seen miracles, you've seen
absolutely.
healings, you've seen
the
club
dead
feet
raised.
that
We've
were
seen the blind eyes open.
Right,
I've seen club feet. We've seen legs grow out. I've seen amputated body parts appear. And yet here I am thrust in the middle of this, and I'm hanging on for just believing God that I was going to live for 5 more minutes. And then supernaturally, God would divinely direct me to receive this level 10 matrix. Here I am at a time where I'd been given a day and a half to live. And I see Jesus early one morning in one of our centers, and he looked at me, and over my being, I felt peace. I felt hope again. And by the end of the day, I would receive this powerful level 10 matrix. And within the next 21 days, my life would be transformed. Even though it wasn't a quick fix, mine was not everything was done and over in 21 days. It took me 90 days, 6 months that I experienced regeneration, but I'm here today and I'm telling you the truth. I'm a partner of purpose now as I have received this type of amazing regenerative therapy that changed my life. And here I was struggling because I said, God, how can I do this? Because I thought, God, you don't need this. You don't need to work with this. I've seen you raise the dead. I've seen eyes that were underdeveloped, and I've seen you create new eyeballs. Lord, I didn't understand, and I struggled as a pastor. And my husband and I traveled all over the world. We'd seen God do the supernatural over and over again. And yet I'm in a place where I'm face to face with my life is hanging in the balance.
Right.
And yet at that moment, God would speak to me in a dream, and he said, Shirley, why are you limiting the mighty one of Israel? Why are you trying to put me in a box? And I said, Lord, how am I trying to put you in a box? How am I limiting you? And I thought that God would just heal supernaturally. I had been involved in the medical industry, but I never saw the convergence like I saw at that time in my life. And I would see how that God had divinely brought in people that he had anointed to bring revelation during this day and time. And in the scriptures, I was reminded that there were those that did not properly discern the body. And one night in the night, the Lord began to speak to me, and he said, Shirley, my people are all part of my body. And just because you don't understand everything where they're at, don't mark them off. And I began to see doctors were calling me. In fact, it was early one morning, around 5 a.m. I had left the house early and gone to the office because I was ready to shut down anything and everything that had to do with stem cell therapy, with the matrix. I just thought, God, I don't want to do anything that would ever bring mixture into anything that you're doing. And early that morning, I get to the office, and one of the local doctors showed up at my office, and he said, Shirley, I just want to talk to you. He said, I want you to know that I've not been able to see for a long time, and I can actually see now. I said, wow. He said, Shirley, this is amazing. Within just minutes, I'm getting another phone call, another doctor who had been deaf for over 20 years. And he had to wear hearing aids, and he was not able to hear music anymore. And after receiving the level 10 matrix, his hearing was restored. Then within probably the next hour, I'm still in the early morning hours, and I receive another call from another man that we had met that was not able to walk. He had been crippled for years and was facing double knee replacement surgery, was in constant pain. And he said, Shirley, I was hoping to catch you before you got started with your day. He said, I just want to thank you for what you're doing. I can walk again. I'm doing things that I never dreamed would even be possible. And immediately the Spirit of the Lord fell upon me and reminded me of the scriptures where John the Baptist's disciples had gone to Jesus and said, we've come to ask you, is it you that we seek, or do we seek for another? And Jesus turned to John the Baptist's disciples and said, you go tell John that the blind see, the deaf hear, and the lame walk. And at that moment, I knew that somehow or another, I didn't understand it all, but somehow or another, I knew that God was using the power of regeneration through something that he had created that was pulled from the umbilical cord, a blood product that would now bring restoration, because the Word of God says life is in the blood. And now I would be at a point in my life where I would be able to be a recipient and be able to be given a platform to where I would be able to share this message of hope with people everywhere that I go.
So folks, you can jump in on this, go to level10matrix.com, get a lot more data and information on this. The part that is starting to make sense to me as I'm trying to analyze this, and Lord, what is it you're doing? There's a science to this, but I really believe there is a science to the supernatural, and that there's a supernatural way in which God opens up. The Bible says that kings in the Bible are able to explore things, and they're able to find things. And I believe there's wisdom that God is unlocking to his people right now for the purpose of giving life. And one of the docs I talked to recently said, Lance, you know that your physical body is renewing itself constantly. At a cellular level, your liver's recreating itself, your heart's recreating itself, because cells are decomposing and then they're reassembling. So technically, it could be 7 months or 9 months for different organs, but you're basically recreating these organs constantly. And then I began to realize that if you actually get down to that level, at that cellular level, and begin to infuse another dynamic in that regeneration process, you can improve something that's actually deteriorating. Isn't that kind of like what's happening?
Absolutely. As we are seeing supernatural regeneration. Now, I'm not the doctor, I'm not the scientist, but I recognize the realm of the supernatural. As you walk into this, you see people that are regenerating at supernatural rates. Things are happening that in the physical, you wouldn't think that they would happen for years. It might take years for something to regenerate, but instead we're seeing things happen within months that are absolutely extraordinary. So I love being a part of this. And can I share something from one of the pastors? Sure. So we had a pastor that contacted us, and this pastor, he received what I love to call a smart med miracle or a smart medicine miracle. But this pastor said, I'm 33 years old, and I was involved in 4 different accidents before the age of 30. And the accidents did damage, he said, to my neck, my back, and my knees. And after the last car accident, he said, I went to a spine surgeon, and they said that they would have to move my vocal cords just to get to the area where they would have to do the repair on his neck. He said, I chose not to move forward with the surgery. This pastor has also been really gifted in the area of voice, and he sings and pastors, and he said, I have to use my voice. And so he went into depression, wasn't able to play with his children. He was in such excruciating pain. He said, I couldn't go on walks with my wife. He said, I started putting on weight. His health issues were being affected, not just his physical health, but his mental health. Well, he received the level 10 matrix, and did this guy get his life back? This is so extraordinary. He said the first morning after the therapy, he got out of bed, swung around, put his feet on the ground, and said, I'm not in pain anymore. Unbelievable. He could feel the floor with his feet. He got up. He said, I felt such relief. He just began to weep. Couldn't believe what had just happened to him within 24 hours. Now, you would think that these things would take a long time, but I continue to see the supernatural power of God infused in everything that we are doing here with this. This is incredible. His pain left. He began to sleep again. He began to exercise again. And then I'm going to give you another update. So he and his wife had been believing God for another child, and they'd been trying to have another child for over 7 years. The doctors had given them no hope. They had been through fertility doctors, and so finally they just decided they were just going to give up. Well, he received the therapy. The day that he received the therapy, his wife also received the therapy. Well, fast forward 10 months, and they have a new baby. Oh, awesome. After years in thinking, how could this be? Again, I don't have to understand it all. Right. I just know we have tapped into something that's working.
Mercedes, as you're listening to all this, and you have a written copy of 5, 6, 7, 8 different testimonials from the last conference, what's going through your mind?
Well, I love the last one that Pastor Shirley just shared, because as much as we talk about regenerative health, also preventative, right? And so here you have a younger couple who is obviously received their own miracles, and that's just so powerful, because yes, to 50 and older, but people like myself, which not there yet, but quickly approaching those types of numbers, it's important for us too to be looking at the level 10 matrix. So I wanted to also, because I love the testimonies, you brought more with you. So are these from people from the health conference, the health summit?
Yes, many of these are just giving their updates, their 4-week, 5-week update. Mm-hmm. Many people actually received the therapy at the event.
Yeah.
And some of them had to be scheduled for, a month away from the event just because of where they were located or needing to pull the money together or transfer. So now I love this one. Can I share some of these?
Please, yeah. I think, you are the most familiar. Let's go for it.
So this woman says, he is walking. She's talking about her son. His legs don't hurt anymore. From a mother with a 10-year-old boy that was dealing with severe pain. He had a diagnosis from the medical establishment. And again, I'm not the doctor. This is not a treatment for any type of a disease, but they put some labels on him. Lyme's disease, COVID, injuries, and yet there was a lot of scar tissue that was involved in his body and in his spinal cord. And he had the flu, he was unable to walk. And within a short period of time after he received this level 10 matrix, a 10-year-old boy is walking again with no pain. And to sense the enjoyment, the joy in this mom's life as she is saying, my son, he's walking again. He's not in pain again. This other lady, Sharon, she says, I had a very, very painful time in her life. She had dealt with pain for quite some time. And then 5 weeks after she received the therapy, she began to notice some relief. She began to see that her knees were now functioning. She was able to get up and down. And Sharon says, I am so grateful. My prayers are that my ankles and my back and my neck will also experience the same results. So we are seeing that people a month out, 5 weeks out, 2 months out, they're already beginning to experience that level of regeneration. So some people will have things happen very, very quickly. Others, it may take months. But what we continue to see over and over is regeneration. I love this one. This lady said, oh, by the way, I'm able to garden now. I'm able to travel in a car without getting sick. She reports her head is clear now. Clear in the morning, and she said, and my biggest success is that I can perspire once again. Can you imagine a body not being able to perspire? That means all that junk is being...
Toxins are all locked in.
Yeah, and then our body's not able to release it, and now she's able to get rid of these toxins. Another man, he reports, hey, I've got feeling in my fingers and my feet. Energy is increasing. These reports are coming over and over and over as people are telling us. One guy says, I'm not having to get up all through the night and empty my bladder. He said, I used to have to get up twice every hour just to empty my bladder.
Wow.
And now I'm going for 4 hours at a time. That's significant. That's a miracle.
Well, it is. You know what? And what strikes me as being the most profound is that the therapy, this level 10 matrix, it goes to work in areas where the body has its own intelligence. It knows where it needs to go. So some of these, what's fascinating here is people may be going for the level 10 matrix for one thing, and they're actually experiencing a breakthrough in another area because your body prioritizes exactly what needs to be done. You don't know the connection of things. But what really struck me is this, I've never seen this before. Evidently it's someone's mother. They're reporting on their mom's progress. The uneven brown spots on her legs are hardly noticeable anymore, and veins are fading too.
Wow.
Loose teeth are stronger, and she seems to be more flexible with no problem getting out of bed.
Wow.
So there you've got a series of really unusual phenomena, but this is kind of like the variety of testimonies I'm always running into with Pastor Shirley when I'm talking to her. And so these are life-changing strategies. You want to go to level10matrix.com to get more information about it. And when you are talking to people about this, Mercedes, you gave me a quote which I thought was so intelligent. It was, before you operate or medicate, regenerate.
Yep.
Why did that jump out to you?
I just like it. Well, I mean, as you listen to this and you look at the testimonies, and Lance knows, Larry and I are a little bit of a hypochondriacs. Like the slightest thing, we're like, you think I should go to the doctor? Like Lance is my old friend where I'm like, hey, this ever happened to you before? And so, but you just think about everybody who's watching at home. I think we're all like that. I think we all go about our lives. We just kind of mask like whatever's kind of happening below the surface or the thing that's happening to your kid. And you're just trying to engage. Let me just answer the call of God on my life. Let me just try to advance the kingdom. But there's so many things like this that are going on beneath the surface. And that's why I think this type of material is so amazing. That's why I think Level 10 Matrix is so fantastic, because it's somebody's missing piece. And like, to answer your question, before you go to the doctor and you get the pills, before you go to the doctor and they're like, we have to operate, that this is something everyone should be looking at. They should be looking at regenerative health. They should go to level10matrix.com, check out the information on the site, and see if it's your missing piece. Because, we were talking earlier just about the miracles that Jesus did. And what really struck me, Pastor Shirley, is when you were sharing that when the Lord said, you don't limit me. And there's something about, I think, especially on our side, kind of on the charismatic side, we tend to be like, well, God, it's just you. Like when you were talking, I was thinking, you know what it's like? It's like me being like, Shirley, you need $100? Here's $100. And you're like, no, I want God to manifest it right in front of me, miraculously, supernaturally. Thank you,
right.
but I need it this way. And sometimes we really limit him in how he's going to move in our lives. And like you said earlier, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And that is the biggest thing that I feel really called to bring people this year, is that missing knowledge. And so anyways, it's a long answer to your question, but you guys have been talking, I have all these thoughts piling up. I'm like, I got to share this with you guys at home. So please check it out, because this is something that we all do. We all take Level 10 Matrix. We take the therapy. We're into regenerative health. And one of the things I really love is that, Level 10, that's kind of our convergence brand as well. But one of the reasons we're bringing this under that brand is that all of Level 10 living is regenerative. And so you're regenerating your mind when you read the Word of God. You're regenerating what you're doing with your life when you go through our Level 10 material. And this is regenerating your health. So anyways, Lance, long answer.
It's a fact. And, I didn't even share this with you, but I have, somebody who handles my barber, who's got arthritis hit both of her hands, and I was going to go get my hair cut, and she goes, I'm out for a couple of weeks. And I thought, well, everyone's going to look at me and start writing in comments on Facebook, Lance, you need to get a haircut or something. But so she said she can't move her hands, and arthritis for someone that works with their hands it puts you out of business. I had just been talking to her about this Level 10 Matrix, and she went ahead and did the therapy. But it was 2 weeks before the operation, and I was hoping it was going to have a miraculous turnaround before 2 weeks. But it didn't have the miraculous turnaround I wanted. But I was checking up on her, and I said, so have you seen any progress? She said, I'll tell you what. I went to the doctor. He said, you are about a month ahead in recovery. What did you do? And so she explained to him, and he said, that makes sense then. He said, you were smart, because what you did was you accelerated the recovery. So this works at all cycles, because some people will call and go, oh, I've already done this or done that. This evidently works no matter what stage you're at. Does that make sense? Absolutely,
yes. And this is all about regenerating the body naturally. When we were born, we had a lot of mesenchymal cells in our body. We had about 1 in every 10,000 cells. But by the time that we reach the age of a teenager, we're at about 1 in every 100,000 cells or stem cells. We get on into the age of 30, 40, 50, we're looking at about 1 in every 500,000 cells or stem cells. Reach into around the age of
there's a great
80.
graphic. If you're watching this and not on a podcast, we have an image right now that shows the ratio of cells as they begin to deplete. And with my eyes right now, I can't even see clearly.
Right.
Age 80 is 1 out of 2 million?
Out of every 2 million cells or stem cells. So that's why when we were born, we had so many cells. We grew so fast. You're going to notice this with your grandbaby, that the children grow so fast. But then by the time that we get older, our stem cells are depleted in our body. We're not bouncing back like what we used to. We're not regenerating. And this is an opportunity for us to get a refill. Now, I want to share a quick testimony from this man. He was dealing with his kidneys not working properly. And he said his numbers were in the 1600s. And he said this is since the conference he received the therapy. His numbers are now down into the 400s. And he said, I am looking forward to my numbers going down to normal, but they are headed in the right direction. This has been supernatural, significant, what has happened. He said, in addition to this, I have lost 25 pounds since January's conference after he received this level 10 matrix. So these are powerful testimonies.
Wow.
I love that. I love that they're real people. I love that these are people that came to the health summit and they're writing, hey, yeah, we got this. And there's so many more. So these are just the people that came to the health summit. And since then, since you've been on the podcast, even more people, just like you watching at home, have contacted Pastor Shirley, our medical team, and have started to take advantage of this. So we're just going to get more and more in. And what I love is, I think for our next time you're on, Pastor Shirley, we'll have videos and we can contact some of these people and play them right here for everybody at home to watch. It's just so powerful. You know, yes. It's like in the Bible where like people are like, did you hear what Jesus did? Did you hear what Jesus did? And what I love about what we all do here is that God gets the glory for this. Mm-hmm. It's not even like, level 10, therapy matrix. And it's not that, it's Jesus. It's like Jesus is saying, hey, here's something like hidden knowledge that we're bringing to you that like kind of has been masked, but this is for you. This could be your missing piece. Like so many people like you're hearing right now, like you could be the next person. We're going to read your testimony on the show. Anyways, you make me excited, Pastor Shirley.
Well, this is so powerful because the power that created you is the power that heals you. God is made our bodies so that healing and regeneration are actually encoded into our DNA. And the rest of our life really can be the best of our life. This is so simple.
It's exciting to be able to hear every time I talk to you. There's another testimony. This verse here somehow ties in Leviticus 17:11, for the life of the flesh is in the blood. And I've given it unto you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls, for it is the blood that makes an atonement for the soul. And Jesus poured out his life, the Bible says. He poured out his soul, which was his blood as it was poured out. But this idea that the life, that there's almost like God has given a key there, that there's a life-giving force that is central to the strength of the flesh, and that's in the blood.
Yes. Yes, life is in the blood. And we see that the level 10 matrix, it's a blood product. And as we see the power of regeneration that is released into someone's body, and the scientists have been able to figure out a way to where anyone can receive this. There's not a rejection issue with our bodies. You can receive it. I can receive it. Mercedes can receive it. All of you out there watching today, you can actually receive this therapy because they've separated the very things that caused rejection in our body. Now we're able to receive this product and we're able to regenerate. Extraordinary.
So the degeneration of our physical organs, our body, can actually be reversed. That's the amazing proposition that we're talking about today. Pastor Shirley, thank you. Mercedes, thank you. Those of you that want to take action on this, I can't encourage you more than to get more information. My people perish for lack of knowledge. Go to level10matrix.com. You're watching this for a reason. I believe God had you maybe looking at this as a divine appointment, because you could be the next testimony that we have here from our own audience, our own people. These are friends of ours. This is like people we don't know. They're people that we actually get to meet. We look forward to seeing you again on our next Lance Wallnau Show. Thank you for making this a special edition. God bless.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to navigate the world